Hey guys, welcome to Yogalates with SJ and to this full body weight training workout at home. So you only need some kind of weights for this, whether it be some dumbbells or some other kind of weights. You could also use ankle weights too. And ideally you want to have 3 different sized weights. So you want to have dumbbells that are going to be a lighter weight, then a medium, and then a heavier weight. And we're going to do 3 rounds, and we're going to ideally be increasing the weight as we go. If you don't have 3 different size weights, that's okay. You can always just start with your body weight to begin for the first round, and then just use the weights that you do have for the second and third round. So let's take some time here to just arrive, just grabbing hold of your weights, your first set. And we are just starting to bend one knee and then the other. So you're lifting one heel up, then the other, and we're doing a little hammer curl at the same time. So elbows are in close to the side waist. You've got the shoulders down and away from the ears. You are engaging into the core, and you've got length through the back of the neck, and you are lifting up and lowering down. So really getting into those calf muscles as well as into the biceps. We're not locking out through the joints, so not locking out those elbows or the knee joints, just finding softness there. Keeping the arms in really close here and breathing. Core engaged. Inhale and exhale. Beautiful work. Right, staying here. We are just starting to step the left toes out to the side as you start to bring the weights out to the side, and then drawing those weights back in through center and drawing the toes back in through center. So really finding that nice kind of opening out of the hip on that left side, the outer thigh, and then you are drawing the leg back in, really squeezing into the inner thigh as you draw back in. And you've got softness into the elbows here, shoulders are down and away from the ears, and let's come straight to the other side. And the right toes come out to the side as you start to lift the elbows up. So softness there into the elbows, shoulders down and away from the ears, and you are tapping the toes out and then drawing the arms back in as you draw that inner thigh back in. Keeping this going, making sure you're breathing and you have got softness into the jaw, smiling and relaxing all the muscles of the face. We are going to get really strong here. If you've got heavier weights, of course, you might do less of these reps. So just working with what you've got going on. If you've got lighter weights, trying to get to, say, about 12 reps. Now we're starting to soften into the knees, and you are hinging forward at the hips with a flat back, and you are starting to squeeze into the back muscles. So drawing the elbows back behind you, shoulders away from the ears, and then lengthening the arms out in front of you, keeping your core engaged, and you are keeping your tailbone lengthened out towards the back wall, keeping length through the back of the neck, and exhale as you draw in, inhale as you start to slowly release with control. And keeping that core engaged, so you are not letting that go, coming all the way back up to standing. And we're going to start to press the arms up. So we're doing a shoulder press here, just stepping the feet out a little bit wider, about shoulder distance apart, finding a neutral pelvis, bringing the toes turned out, heels slightly turned in, and you're starting to drop down into a squat, and then you are starting to toe tap the toes of one foot, and then coming back through center, sitting back into the heels into your squat, and then pressing back, power back up to standing, and then you are doing that shoulder press up on the other side. So as you continue here, just making sure that you have got your shoulders down and away from the ears. You are not bringing the arms back too far, so you've got the arms kind of going in front of the shoulders slightly rather than behind the shoulders, and you're making sure that the knees are not going forward of the toes, so we're looking after those knees. The knees are tracking directly in line with the toes. Beautiful work. Now we're starting to come to the edge of a couch or maybe a bench, and you're just going to start to bring the right knee to that surface. Right hand comes down, and you're starting to draw the left elbow up and drawing the hand into the side waist, with that weight, and then you are lengthening back down again, keeping this going. So we want to have the hips square to the earth, and you've got length out the tailbone. You're squeezing up, really using the back of the arm for this, and then releasing down, coming straight over to the other side. So starting to bring the left hand onto your surface, the right knee and shin comes to that surface as well. You're finding that core engagement, and you're hinging forward at the hips, softness into the right supporting knee, starting to draw the weight into the side waist, and then softly releasing it back down. Really getting into the back of the arm as well as the back of the upper back, the back of the shoulder. Beautiful work. Keep this going. Keep your core engaged. Gaze is straight down or slightly forward, and then let's come all the way down. We're going to grab hold of both weights this time, coming down onto either just your back on the floor, or you can come to the bench, or maybe onto a bed or a couch. We're just starting to press the arms up, and then softly releasing the elbows down, bringing the weights to the heart center. Keeping this going. So it is a chest press up and releasing down. Beautiful work, and just finding a beautiful breath in as you start to press up, and exhale as you draw those elbows down. Keeping your core engaged and making sure that you have got a neutral pelvis here. So you want to make sure that there is just a tiny little space between the low back and the surface beneath you. And then we are starting to bring the weights to the front side of the legs. You're lifting up into a crunch, so keeping space between the chin and the chest, lifting, 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 and then lowering back down with control. So the head and shoulders lifts up, and then you are slowly releasing. Exhale as you start to roll all the way back down. So again, just working with as many of these as you can do in the time frame. So if you've got heavier weights, you might do less of these, but just really taking your time with it, making sure you've got some really good form, and keeping your core engaged, belly button back towards the spine, ribs are closed, and keeping length through the back of the neck, so you're not bringing any tension into the back of the neck. Inhale, coming up. Exhale as you slowly start to roll back down, vertebra by vertebra, and releasing. So good, you guys. Now we're just starting to stay here. We're just starting to lengthen the right leg up towards the ceiling. Just starting to flex the toes back towards the face, and then just pointing the toes, flexing the toes back. Keeping this going, just a bit of movement here into the ankle, maybe circling the ankle in one direction, then the other, spreading wide through the toes, just finding a really, really nice stretch here into the foot. And then you are starting to soften through the knee and lengthen that leg all the way up. Just finding softness though into the knee, so we're not locking out that knee. You're just taking your weights, you're reaching the outside weight, so the right hand reaches up towards the ankle and the left arm is down, either on the front side of the pelvis or slightly higher. You're just starting to do a little bridge up here, so you're pressing into that left supporting foot. You're lifting up as high as you can, and then you are lowering back down. So it's a very small lift, and keeping this going. So inhale as you lift up, exhale as you lower back down. Tiny lift up, keeping the arms extended, leg is extended. If it feels too much though, of course, you can soften into the knee and maybe bend through the knee instead. Let's come to the other side. So you are bringing the right foot down, left leg goes up, and finding that movement into that left ankle, into the foot, flexing the toes back, pointing and flexing, any kind of movement here into the foot, the ankle, and we are keeping the core softly engaged. You've got softness into the knee, and then we are finding that little glute bridge here on this side. So starting to bring your weight into that right foot, you're extending the arms up towards the ankle, and you are lifting, 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 and then rolling back down, vertebra by vertebra. And again, lifting up, lifting, 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 and lower down. Trying to keep your hips directly pointed towards the ceiling without rolling over to one side or the other. keeping this going, lifting up as high as you can, and then lowering back down with control. Ribs are closed. You are keeping the back of the head down on the mat, lifting up and lowering down. This is challenging. Doing as much as you can here with the weight that you have, and then lowering the foot back down and taking a moment here. Just bringing the weights into the belly or into the heart center, and then you are starting to reach the arms up towards the ceiling, and you've got softness into the elbows. You're bringing the soles of the feet together and you're opening the knees out wide, and then you're closing those knees back in together as you start to do a fly of the arms. You're opening the arms out as the knees squeeze inward, and then as you open the knees out, you are drawing the arms back in through center. So keeping this going, as you do this, I really want you to imagine that as you press the outer thighs out, you're really resisting something. So it's as though you're trying to press against a weight through the outer thighs, and as you draw the inner thighs together, really squeezing in through those inner thighs. You've got your core engaged the whole time, and you've got softness into those elbows. Shoulders are away from the ears. Jaw is relaxed, neutral pelvis, squeezing in through that chest, through the heart center as you draw the arms together, and you are opening out using the arm muscles, the outside of the shoulders, the outer arms to open out. Nice. Let's roll all the way now over to the belly. So just starting to take hold of one weight, placing it in the crease behind the knee on that right side. Then you're starting to just stack the arms, bringing your forehead down onto those stacked arms, and just taking a moment here, lengthening the left leg out, and you're starting to just point the toes of that right foot up towards the ceiling, and you're just lifting up using your glute muscle to lift and lower. So it's a very, very small lift and lower of the knee up and down, but you're really focusing on keeping the glute being what is creating the movement here. So we're really using the strength of that glute to lift and lower. Now let's take a moment here to switch it over. So you're starting to bring the weight into the opposite crease just behind that knee on the left side. Starting to take a moment here, adjusting, getting into position. Right leg is extended behind you, and you have got your forehead down on your stacked arms. Just starting to lift and lower, using that left glute to lift up as high as you can, lowering down, keeping your core engaged the whole time, pressing the pubic bone down into the mat, keeping everything else through the body relaxed, lifting up as high as you can, using that glute muscle, and then lowering back down with control. It's a very, very small movement, and then beautiful, coming all the way back, releasing here and taking a moment. Just starting to grab hold of both weights, and you just want to be face down here, and we're starting to bring the forehead down onto the mat, or you can bring the chin onto the mat, whatever feels more comfortable, or even just having your head turned to one side. Just having the palms facing up, we're just doing a little lift up and down of the back of those arms. So the tricep muscles, very small movement up and down. We're getting into the back of those arms, the triceps. Keep this going. You can turn your head for a moment to the other side if you do have your head turned to one side. Softness into the elbows, lifting and lowering, keeping everything else relaxed. As you continue here, isolating through the back of those arms. Make sure you're breathing, only a couple more, and then you can release it. Nice work. We are done with our first round. We are coming into our next round. So just taking a moment here, maybe grabbing hold of some water or anything else that you might need before we go into our next round. You might like to increase your weights here, maybe coming to your medium weights now, and then we are going to crack straight into it. Bringing the weights down by your side, and we are starting to lift one heel and then the other, keeping your pelvis in a neutral, starting to find that hammer curl. So you're bending into the elbows as you draw the weights up towards the shoulders, palms facing inward, and then you are lowering the heel down as you start to lower the arms down and switching sides, keeping this going, making sure you are softly bending into the elbows so we aren't locking out those elbow joints. You are keeping the whole pelvis in that nice neutral position, so you are not tucking the tailbone, not popping the tailbone back. You're keeping your core engaged, ribs are closed. Beautiful work. Now let's find a bicep curl as we come high onto the toes. So you're coming up high as you draw the weights in towards the shoulders, and then starting to lower the arms back down by your sides as you start to lower the heels back down. So we are finding a squeeze up as you start to draw the arms up, and then keeping the elbows locked in close as you start to release the arms down, heels start to lower down. Awesome work. Keeping softness into the knees and making sure that you're breathing. Now you're starting to bring the weights in towards your heart center, and you're tapping the left toes out to the side as you draw the weights in through center and keeping this going. So we are finding softness into the elbows. It's almost as though you are drawing those elbows up, so really using the elbows to lift up and keeping the shoulders down and away from the ears, and you've got a very light grip of your weights here. You are pressing that hip out and the outer thigh, and then you are drawing in, squeezing into that inner thigh as you bring the toes to tap back in. Now let's go to the other side. So you're starting to toe tap the right toes out as you start to lift the elbows up and lower back down as you start to draw those weights in through center and keeping this going. Making sure you're breathing. Everything else is really still here, so you're keeping a nice core engagement. You are keeping the pelvis quite still, and you are closing those ribs. Shoulders are sliding down the back, and making sure that you are breathing deeply, coming back through center. When you're ready, let's find that forward hinge. So you are hinging at the hips, palms facing inward, elbows draw straight back, shoulders away from the ears, and then starting to release the arms slightly forward as you start to find a straightness into the arms. So we don't want to be locking out those elbow joints though, so you've still got that kind of connection of the muscles as you straighten the arms. You are sitting back slightly into the heels. You've got softness into the knees, and you've got your core engaged. You've got your length through the whole back, so the top of the head is in the same line as the rest of the back. Beautiful. One more here, and coming up through center. Now let's bring the toes to turn slightly out, heels slightly in, and you are starting to drop down into your squat. The elbows are directly pointing down, and you are pressing one arm up and pointing the toes of that same side, and then dropping back through center and coming to the other side. As you continue with this, really finding that you're sitting back into the heels with that squat. Seeing if you can come down a little bit deeper into this, making sure that the knees are not tracking forward of the toes. So you're really sitting back into those heels, and you've got your weight even through that center line. So we are not coming over to one side more than the other. You're really staying with your balance and weight through center. Drop it down, press it up, power it up, feeling that strength, and lowering down and lengthening up, really feeling yourself lifting up even taller each time that you come up, and pressing it up, lower down. If your weights are heavier, you're going to be doing less of these, and you're just going to be taking your time and really focusing on your form, and you may even have a slightly bigger break between each of these exercises. Awesome. Let's stay here, guys, and we are just doing the shoulder press. So you are just pressing up and lowering the elbows back down. So keeping some nice space here across the upper back. The shoulders are relaxed down, so we're not bringing those shoulders up towards the ears. you are bringing softness into the knees. Now we're starting to just bring the weights to across the body. So one arm comes across and then coming back through center, and then the other arm comes across and back through center. So the whole time you do this, I want you to make sure that the hips are pointing directly to that side edge, and you've got softness into the elbows the whole time. So you're really keeping your core engaged, and we're working into the outside of the waist, the oblique muscles, those waist muscles, which keeps everything nice and strong through that waist and keeps everything nice and cinched in there. And we are also working into the arms here as well, and shoulders. Nice work. Now let's come all the way back, and you are finding your bench, and you're bringing your right hand onto the bench and the right knee comes onto the bench. Finding that hinge forward, lengthening into the spine, and you're drawing the left elbow up to the side waist and then lowering the arm back down and keeping this going, making sure that the shoulder is away from the ears and you've got a core engagement. The hips are pointing directly down. You've got length through the back of the neck, and you are breathing in, breathing out, squeezing into the back of that arm, and let's come straight over to the other side. So we're coming over to place the left hand down, the left knee comes down, you've got softness into that supporting knee, and then you are finding that hinge forward and you are drawing the weight in towards the heart as the elbow goes straight back, and then lowering it back down, not locking out through the elbow as you straighten the arm. So we're just maintaining that connection of the muscle the whole time, really controlling the movement here. So you're not letting the weight take over, you are using your muscles to resist as the arm starts to straighten and keeping that going. And then we are coming all the way to lay down on your back. So just taking your time to find a position, bringing the weights in towards the heart center, palms facing outward, and we are starting to press up and then lowering the elbows down as you draw the weights in towards the chest. And you've got a little bit of space between the chin and the chest here. You've got length out the top of the head, so you've got a nice beautiful long neck here, and you are keeping your core softly engaged, ribs are closed and jaw is relaxed, pressing up and then finding that openness across the front side of the heart center. Nice work, and let's bring those weights down, and we are finding a lift up, so it's a crunch up and a lower back down. So bringing the weights to the front side of the legs, and you are lifting the head and shoulders up, keeping space between the chin and the chest, and then keeping your core engaged the whole time as you lift, and lowering back down with control, slowing this down. The slower you go, the more challenging this is. Lifting up and controlling down. Ribs closed, keeping that neutral pelvis, so you are not tucking the tailbone, you're not pressing the tailbone back. You have got length out the tailbone towards the end of your mat, lifting, and slowly lowering back down. So good, you guys. And again, coming up, inhale, exhale. Great job. Taking a moment here, let's find that release into the ankle, the foot. So you are reaching the right leg up towards the ceiling, pointing and flexing the toes, pressing the heel up maybe, flexing those toes back. Any kind of movement here into the ankle, into the foot that feels good. Just taking a few deep breaths in through the nose, out the nose or mouth, and then softly bending into that knee, and then you are finding that length back up again. Just still finding softness into the knee though, so we're not really locking out through the back of the knee here. Now you're starting to bring the weights up towards the ankle, and we are starting to lengthen the tailbone out. You're lifting the pelvis up, so pressing into that left supporting foot, lifting up as high as you can, drawing up from the front side of the hips, and then a very small lower back down. So it's that bridge up, lifting, 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 and lowering back down. You should be able to feel this in your glute, trying to keep the weight very balanced through the center so you aren't rolling over to one side or the other. Now let's find the opposite side. So just starting to bring that right foot down and lengthening the left foot up, finding some movement here into the foot, the ankle, maybe flexing the toes back, pointing the toes, anything at all that feels good. Just taking those deep breaths in through the nose and out the nose or mouth, and then let's prepare to do that bridge. So just starting to find a positioning of that right foot where you can really press into the foot to lift you up, reaching the arms up towards the ankle, and you are lifting, 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 and lowering back down, keeping the ribs closed. It doesn't need to be a very big lift up, even if the pelvis doesn't even lift up at all. It's more about bringing your mind into those muscles, and it is even more challenging when we're using weights here as well. So this is already hard without weights. So with weights, it really is an extra challenge, but it's so worth it, you guys. Lifting, 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 inhale, exhale, lowering back down, just taking your time to release, rolling from the mid-back all the way down to the lower back, and then the pelvis arrives last. And taking a moment here, bringing the foot down, and then we are just taking a moment just to readjust. And we're going to start to bring those weights to be directly out from the heart center. You're bringing the arches of the feet together, and those knees are going to fall out wide. So we've got that little butterfly position. And then as you squeeze those knees in toward each other, you are finding that fly with the arms. So you are opening the heart center out. And then as you draw those arms back in, you are starting to let the outside of those knees open out. And then squeezing into the inner thighs and drawing back in and keeping this going. So as you continue here, just really bringing your mind as well, not only to the muscles that we're working here in the inner thighs, the outer thighs, the heart muscles, the chest muscles, the across the front side of the shoulders, the outer arms, all of those muscles, but also into the core as well. So we're really bringing the belly button back towards the spine. Your ribs are closed, and you are keeping the tailbone lengthened towards the end of your mat. So you're keeping that really nice neutral pelvis. And beautiful work. Last one here, and let's find that little glute lift. So starting to roll over onto your belly, and you are taking one of your weights, bringing it behind that crease of the right knee, and then you are stacking the arms, bringing your forehead down onto the arms, and just finding a nice neutral pelvis here, and then pointing the toes of that right foot up towards the ceiling, and you are lifting and lowering. So it's a very small lift up and lower down, really squeezing into the glutes on that right side. It's a very small movement here, and you might not even be lifting up much at all, particularly if you've got quite a heavy weight here. That's okay. It's all about bringing mind to muscle as well, and this is extremely challenging. Nice. Now once you've done that final one, let's go straight over to the other side. So let's come to your left side, finding a moment here to adjust and finding that positioning of the weight, and forehead comes down onto your stacked arms. Length through the back of the neck, lift and lower. Keep this going, trying to relax through the right leg and the right foot as you do this. All of the movement here is just the lift, the knee lifting up and squeezing into the glute, that smile line underneath the booty there, and then one more. And release it, guys. Taking a moment here, releasing. Just taking hold of both of your weights now, and bringing either the chin onto your mat or the forehead onto your mat, finding that tricep here. So we're just starting to just bring the arms to come by your sides, palms facing up, and either the head is turned to one side or you've got it in a different position. We're just starting to lift and lower, squeezing into the back of the arms, the upper arms here, not locking out through the elbows. You're just using those tricep muscles to lift and lower. If your head is turned to one side, you might take a moment to lift it up and over, placing it to the other side and continuing here. It's a very small lift up, lower down. Make sure you're breathing. Don't hold your breath. Everything else is relaxed down here. The rest of the body relaxing, isolating through the back of the arm. And beautiful work. Final one here, and release it out and coming all the way down. Well done, you guys. We've only got one more round to go. You're doing amazing. If you want to, you can increase your weight here, maybe doing less reps this time, maybe going to your absolute max where you actually go to failure and you can't do any more. That's absolutely brilliant if you can go to that point. Now let's take a moment, water if you need to, grab your weights, and let's get straight into it. Last round, we are finding that little pedal of the feet here, finding that hammer curl as well. We're working into the back of the legs as well as the bicep muscles, and we are keeping the core engaged. You are breathing, seeing if you can come up even higher. You can slow this right down if you have heavier weights here. Maybe only doing 2 or 3 of these. It doesn't matter. You can take a longer break in between, grab some water if you need to. If your weights are quite heavy, it's more about going to the full distance, really pushing yourself to where you can really feel that it is your max. Nice. Now let's find that lift up, and we're finding that bicep curl. So you're starting to come up high on the balls of the feet as you draw those weights in towards the heart, elbows in close, and then lowering the arms to straighten out as you start to come back down into the heels, and finding that lift, really getting into those calf muscles. And we are squeezing up and slowly with control releasing back out, bringing your mind into those biceps as well. Shoulders are away from the ears, and beautiful work. Let's bring the weights into the heart center, and we are finding that toe tap of the left toes out as you start to softly bend into the arms and bring the weights out to the side and draw it back in, keeping this going. Core is engaged. You are breathing. You're doing so amazing. We're going to be done with this workout, you guys, and honestly, this is such a challenging workout, and I am so proud of you. This is all about getting results, and even though it's not a particularly long workout, it is long enough to get absolutely everything you need and really to get some serious results. Now let's come to the other side, guys, and we are coming over to tap the right toes out as you start to draw those elbows up, and then you are closing the hands to come back through center as you start to squeeze into that inner thigh, drawing the knee back in, tapping the toes. So good. Finding your breath, breathing in, breathing out. Just doing a few of these, or doing more. If you don't have weights or you have lighter weights, you can do as many as you like here. Otherwise, you are just trying to do as many as you can with the weights you have. Nice. Let's just start to come to that hinge forward at the hips, and you've got softness into the knees. You are drawing the elbows straight back, drawing the weight into the side waist. Shoulders are away from the ears. Core is engaged. Lengthening the tailbone to the floor here, so we are kind of lengthening it straight back. We're not lifting or lowering the pelvis. We've got that beautiful long line from the top of the head all the way out the tailbone. Squeeze it in and release it out. Nice. And coming all the way up. Let's find that little squat straight into that shoulder press. So toes turned out, heels slightly turned in, and you are coming all the way down into your sumo squat, sitting down into the heels, lifting up and reaching through the toes of one side and then coming back through center, drop it down, coming to the other side, finding even more length up towards the ceiling, almost as though you've got this beautiful long line out the toes all the way up to the ceiling as you lengthen the arm, lengthen the toes. Nice. Sit down and power up. Keep it going. Seeing if you can go down a little bit deeper here, but keeping your core engaged. Don't let it go. Make sure you're breathing. Inhale in. Exhale out. Exhale to power it up. Using your breath to find even more strength, to find even more energy. You are going to feel amazing after this, and lower it down. Press it up. Make it count. And coming down. Pressing it up. Back through center. Sitting down into the heels and press it up and lower it down. Power up and coming back through center. Staying here. Let's just stay with the press. So you are staying here. Let the legs have a break and you are just finding that shoulder press up. You can just do one or two of these if you've got heavier weights, or you might make a few of these if you've got lighter weights or no weights. Make sure you're breathing, shoulders away from the ears. Now let's find that cross across the body, softly bending into the elbow the whole time. You're keeping your hips directly to the side edge of your mat. Finding that core engagement and keeping everything still as you start to draw the arm over, and then coming back through center and going to the other side. So really everything is staying very still here. It is just a little bit of a movement through the arm, and you are keeping your core engaged to keep everything stable here. So we're really working into the waist, into the core, as well as into the shoulder and into the arm. And let's come to our next exercise. So you're bringing your right hand onto your bench and you are bringing the right knee. Then you are starting to find that hinge and you are drawing the left elbow straight back and the weight comes into your side waist, and then you are controlling the movement back down. Keeping this going, so making sure that you have got a core engagement, you have got the gaze directly down or slightly forward, you've got length through the back of the neck, and the tailbone is lengthening to the back of your support. Nice. Now let's come to the other side, taking your time. Let's come over to that left side and we're bringing the right arm down, and you've got softness into the elbow, and we are starting to draw in and starting to find that controlled movement as the arm starts to straighten out. Keeping that micro bend into the elbow, making sure that you've got your core engaged the whole time. Don't let it go. Ribs are closed. Breathing deeply in and fully out. You can keep just a couple of these with heavy weights, of course, as with all of the others, or you can continue with some lighter weights. And we are coming towards the end of our workout, so give it your all now, you guys. Now we're coming to lay down and we're finding that chest press. So you're starting to just bring the weights into the heart center. You're pressing up as you straighten the arms, and then you are drawing those elbows back out and down as you start to find that openness across the heart center here, and making sure that the core is engaged, making sure that you're breathing, you've got length through the back of the neck, and you are making sure that you're relaxing the muscles of the face, softness into the eyes, the jaw. No tension there. We are working into the chest muscles. Nice. Now let's come all the way down here and let's find that crunch up. So you're reaching the arms towards the knees and you are lifting the head and shoulders up, space between the chin and the chest, keeping your core engaged, and then lowering back down with control. So good, you guys. We are so close to being finished. So keeping this going, controlling the movement all the way up and all the way down. Really using your core muscles the whole time, so we're not bringing any tension into the back of the neck or anywhere else. We are using the core, belly button back towards the spine. Inhale, coming up, lift, lift, lift. Exhale, lowering back down with control. Awesome. Now coming all the way down, and we are starting to lengthen that right leg up, finding that movement here into the foot. So maybe flexing and pointing through the foot, maybe circling the ankle, just wiggling the toes, anything at all that feels awesome. And then just finding that moment where you're just bringing the arms up towards the ankles, so just reaching the weights up towards the ankle here, and finding a positioning of that left foot that you can really press down into the foot to find that bridge. So you are keeping the back of the head down, the back of the shoulders is down, and you are going to just press into that supporting foot to lift, 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 keeping the belly button back towards the spine, and then rolling the tailbone back down. So it might be a very small lift here, guys. It's all about keeping your weight even through both glutes, and you are lifting up as high as you can, almost as though there's a string drawing your hips up towards the ceiling. Nice. And then let's come to the other side. Left leg lengthens, and finding that movement into the ankle, into the foot, maybe wiggling the toes, anything at all, maybe bending and straightening through the leg. Breathing deeply in, finding some really deep breaths. In through the nose, out the nose or mouth, relaxing the tummy muscles for a moment. Just letting everything go, and then we are going to find that lift up here. So we're finding that glute bridge. You're going to start to find a positioning of the right foot where you can really press into that right foot. You're bringing the weights to come up towards the ankle, lifting, 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 lifting the pelvis up as high as you can, and then rolling back down vertebra by vertebra, rolling the tailbone all the way back down, and then lifting back up and lowering back down with control, keeping everything very, very central here, so we're not rolling over to one side or the other, and you are lifting up as high as you can. Make it count. We're nearly done, and staying with that lift, and then rolling back down and releasing the pelvis, and again inhale, coming up, pressing into that supporting foot, and exhale as you release back down. And then let's bring both feet down onto your mat, bringing the weights in towards the heart center, and you are reaching the arms out straight in front of you, bringing the arches of the feet together and the knees falling out wide, and then you're coming to that fly, so opening through the heart center as you drop the elbows out, and then you are bringing the knees out as you draw the hands to come back through center. So we're kind of doing opposing movements here, keeping your core engaged the whole time, squeezing into those chest muscles as you draw in, and you are squeezing into the inner thighs as you draw the knees together, and you are pressing away, almost as though you're pressing out with weights on the outer thighs, the outside of those hips, as you open out, and squeezing in, squeezing a weight in as you draw the knees back in through center. Really, really connecting your mind to the muscles. Amazing what happens when you do that. And a couple more here. And then releasing. Let's come straight to do that glute lift. So you're starting to come onto your belly, stacking the arms, bringing one of the weights behind the right knee crease, and you are lengthening the left leg long, and you're going to start to relax the front side of the pelvis down, pointing the toes of that right foot up, and you are lifting and lowering the toes up towards the ceiling. So using that glute, the glute muscles on that right side, as well as a little bit into the hamstring to lift and lower. So trying to keep everything else relaxed. You've got your pubic bone pressed down into the mat, and then let's take a moment here to release it and come to the other side. So switching the weight to that left crease, and you are finding a position again, finding balance through the whole front side of the body, and you are finding that connection here of the glute on the left side this time. Toes point up towards the ceiling, and you are lifting and lowering, really pressing the pubic bone down into your mat as you start to lift up, keeping that connection of glute as you start to control the movement back down again. Lifting, lifting, lifting. Really bringing your mind to the muscles here that we're working. Nice, and one more, and release. Nice. Let's take a moment here to bring the weights down, and you are grabbing hold of both weights. So we're starting to just bring the arms down and bringing the forehead down onto your mat, reaching the arms behind you, and the palms are pointing up towards the ceiling, and you've got softness into the elbows. You can bring your head to one side, or maybe you've got the forehead down on the mat or the chin on the mat, and you're just starting to lift and lower. Tiny pulses up and down through the back of the arms, just keeping this going. Everything else is relaxed, the tummy's relaxed, really isolating through the back of those arms. And if your head is turned to one side, just taking a moment here to lift it up and place it to the other side, keeping this going. Breathing, guys, don't hold your breath. Easy to hold your breath when you are doing something challenging like this. If you've got heavy weights, you might not be doing many of these before taking a break. That is awesome. It's really about getting to our max here. Nice. And coming all the way back through center. You're done, you guys. You have done amazing today. Thank you so much for joining me. Can't wait to see you again soon. Take care.